Welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Thank you so much for joining us. We begin with the Senate confirming the appointment of Justice Ibrahim Mohammed Tanko as Chief Justice of Nigeria. The presidential request for confirmation was read on the Senate floor on the 11th of July 2019. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo tells us the mood during the screening.
7 days after the Chief Justice has been confirmed. Well, this is in line with Section 123, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. And then during the screening, well, the Chief Justice was quite commended and then answered some questions, especially bordered on the development of the Nigerian judiciary. Now, I have here some of the senators who were present on the floor during the screening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, my dear.
Now, how did you see this screening? How will you describe the whole process?
Well, the whole process was very, very good. Excellent. Because the CJ performed very, very well. And senators asked cogent questions that will enhance the judiciary, that will enhance governance, not questions that will bring rowdiness, not questions that are targeted at individuals or politics. No, it was professional. Professional questions were asked, and those questions were answered professionally. So the cordiality in the Senate is now exhibiting itself.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, my dear.
All right. Well, we still have Senator Tanko Umar Al-Makura. Tell us, how did you see this screening today?
Thank you very much. Like you know, this is a learning process for some of us, and I must say that the exercise and the process was wonderful. We are all impressed, especially with the resume and CV sent by the National Judicial Commission about the qualification and the competence of the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. He has been described as someone honest, hardworking, and a team player. And from the way and manner he answered the questions, you have known that he has carved his niche in the profession of his choice, and to everybody's satisfaction.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Right. Well, this is one of the major oversight functions performed by the 9th Senate.
Still on legislative matters, the House of Representatives at Wednesday's plenary urged the Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, to issue a fresh proclamation within 1 week in line with Section 105, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as amended, stating the date, time, venue, and publish same in any national daily and television station. Considering the report by the House had a committee that investigated the matter in a committee of the whole, the House also recommended that all actions taken by the 7th Assembly members be declared null and void pending proper inauguration. The House also recommended that the Inspector General of Police and the DG, Department of State Service, should shut down Edo Assembly and provide adequate security to allay fears of intimidation and threat as alleged by some members-elect. In a situation where recommendations are not adhered to, the House further resolved to invoke provisions of Section 11, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended to take over the State Assembly until the situation normalizes. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives at Wednesday's plenary urged the federal and state governments and the university authorities to establish anti-cult vanguard in tertiary institutions to contain the menace of cultism in the society. This followed a motion of urgent public importance by Representative Henry Unwawabu from Imo State. Deliberating on ways to end cases of cultism springing up in primary and secondary schools, the House recommended inclusion of anti-cultism in schools' curriculums as well as strengthening the National Orientation Agency to live up to its responsibility. The House also urged security agencies to work closely with local vigilante groups and share information that will help to arrest and prosecute defaulters. Meanwhile, the 7-month Senate had a committee set up to investigate the crisis in the Edo State House of Assembly, has pledged to handle the matter with justice and fairness. This was when the committee members visited Governor Godwin Obaseki at the government house in Benin today. Goodluck Enyane reports that the committee visited the Benin monarch after a closed-door meeting with members of the State Assembly at the House. We'll bring you details of this report in subsequent bulletin. And now to judicial matters. The Presidential Election Petitions Court has summoned the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to produce some documents regarding the conduct of the presidential election on February 23, 2019. The five-man panel of justices led by Justice Mohammed Garba gave the order this Wednesday following a subpoena issued and served on the chairman of the commission on the 15th of July 2019. Dele Atumbi reports.
The court summon issued on the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, was based on its reminder by the counsel to the PDP and its candidate Atiku Abubakar, Chris Uche SAN, on the subpoena issued on the commission to avail the petitioners certified true copies of some documents used in the conduct of the presidential election. The subpoena was, however, issued and served on the chairman of INEC on July 15, 2019. Counsel to INEC Usman Ustaz SAN told the court that he doubted if the INEC boss has been served, going by their last discussion on Tuesday. Counsel to President Muhammadu Buhari Wole Olanipekun SAN and Lateef Fagbemi SAN counsel to the APC said the counsel that asked for the summons should have followed up on the request in support of their case. Counsel to the petitioners, Chris Uche SAN, informed the court of the hardship they went through without getting the required documents and pleaded with the court to intervene. As at this Wednesday, the electoral body has made available over 40,000 documents to the petitioners. In the light of this, the court ordered the electoral umpire to make all the documents contained in the subpoena available to read latest by noon on Thursday. The court also ordered the resident electoral commissioner of Zamfara State to produce certified true copies of Form EC8A used during the presidential election. Justice Garba said counsel and parties were under obligation to comply with the order of the court. This Wednesday marks the 9th day out of the 10 days that the petitioners have to call their witnesses as agreed by all the counsel in the matter. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
To other matters now, the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission says the federal government is committed to the implementation of the approved 30,000 minimum wage when negotiation arising from the consequential adjustment is completed. This assurance from the Wages Commission is coming from the concern raised by the trade union side of the Joint National Negotiating Council on issues of consequential adjustment in federal public service, which wanted the government to reconvene the meeting of the technical committee to complete negotiation. Both sides have presented their positions.
And already you can hear it loud and clear out there that government does not wish to implement the national minimum wage. That's not the correct situation. But the door is not shut for officers, on the consequential adjustment arising from the new national minimum wage for officers who earn salaries above 30,000 per month before 18th April 2019 in the Federal Public Service will continue. The outcome of such negotiations will be implemented with effect from the date an agreement is reached.
The government have argued that if 66.666 was added across the board to the salary of public service bill, the bill will be too high for the government to bear. Level them maintain 30% increase should be effected in the salary of officers on grade level 1 to 14 and 25% to salary of grade level 15 to 17.
It will be recalled that the negotiation committee was inaugurated on the 14th of May 2019 to ensure every worker benefits from the date the minimum wage was signed into law. This is Nationwide on NTA. Time now to join Ruth in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Ruth.
Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you and welcome to Lagos. Poor drainage channels and indiscriminate disposal of waste aggravates the challenges of flood in Lagos, particularly during the rainy season. Jennifer Igwe in this report takes a look at the impacts of attitudinal change and enforcement by relevant agencies in prevention and management of floods in Lagos.
Clogged drainage channels don't just happen overnight. No, they are build-ups from individual and collective disposal of waste indiscriminately. Interestingly, a man who throws a plastic bottle from a moving vehicle would never agree he's responsible for clogged gutters or canals in that environment. Reality, however, is like the saying, little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So one wrong action here, another there, and much more, then a major problem is created with resultant hardship and tale of woe.
People's attitude is so terrible. Attitude is a major problem that we have in this country and in this state as a whole, because I remember in past administration, even as public bus drivers, when you are eating in their bus, the driver will be the one shouting on you that don't drop the waste. Make sure you use the waste basket. And when he gets to his park, he knows where to dump it. But people are just careless, that they don't care. The enforcement has to be stringent.
With the impact of climate change increasingly evident, scientists have predicted more intense rainfalls. So, more rains mean more floods, and if gutters and canals are not functional for rainwaters to discharge into nearby lagoons, the story of flooding in Lagos is one that would keep re-echoing from one generation to another. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
A book that addresses the qualities of a reporter covering an election has been launched in Lagos, written by Lanre Arogundade, a Nigerian journalist and media development specialist with 30 years' experience, highlights professional responsibilities of journalists before, during, and after elections. Annie Daniels has details.
The 214-page book titled Media and Elections, Professional Responsibilities of Journalists is a collection of resources pulled together from the author's experience as a reporter and editor of resource manuals. Divided into 7 chapters, the author, Lanre Arogundade, says the information emanating from media sources are not only important for the citizens to make informed choices on voting, but very critical in determining citizens' participation in the process.
The book is coming out this time because often we don't look at the post-election responsibilities of journalists. So the 7th chapter, which I think is one of the longest chapters in the book, looks at the things we can do to hold politicians accountable.
The book reviewer and other guests say the book comes handy, especially in Nigeria when democracy and rule of law are fast gaining grounds in the nation's political system.
I mean, so the book is not just for political reporters, but also for other journalists.
I know that there's so much we could still do to present to the electorate, the best candidate for Nigeria. What we do now is too much of the emotive, the emotional things, and we don't do much of in-depth analysis.
When elections are conducted in the right manner, you understand, then you're going to have good democracy.
Democratic accountability encourages the media to act in accordance with the obligation to hold the government accountable to the people. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues in Abuja after the break.
Enjoy the best of African football as NTA, Africa's largest television network and hotspot, Nigeria's foremost sports production and marketing company, bring you all 52 matches of the Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 live from June 21 to July 19, 2019. Yes, all 52 games will hit your screens in crystal clear digital quality. It's your guarantee of a memorable viewing experience and a wonderful cost-effective opportunity for corporate Nigeria to reach tens of millions of Nigerians. For For sponsorship and commercial support, contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. Hot Sports, masters of the game. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
I was born and bred in Africa. I schooled in Africa, and I've seen firsthand the level of poverty in Africa. This is the reason why our family in 2010 created the Tony Elmelu Foundation to help young African men and women to realize their life aspirations. To the young Africans, I say, the future of Africa is indeed in your hands. I look forward to welcoming our entrepreneurs in Abuja between the 26th and 27th of July this year for the annual Tony Elmelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum, the largest gathering of African entrepreneurs.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, invites all secretaries to state governments, permanent secretaries, heads of cabinet affairs offices in the Northwest Geopolitical Zone consisting of Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara states to the fourth in the series of the regional mel meeting for secretaries to the state government and heads, permanent secretaries of cabinet affairs offices, which is a follow-up meeting on the outcome of the maiden meeting held in the second quarter of 2019 in Abuja for secretaries to the state government, permanent secretaries, heads of cabinet affairs offices. The meeting is designed to, among other things, develop a synergy between the cabinet affairs offices at the federal and state levels in order to develop a framework for a community of practice. The follow-up meeting is scheduled to hold as follows. Date, Friday, July 19th, 2019. Time, 9 a.m. Venue, African Hall, Government House, Kano. Announcer, Babatunde Lawal, Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Thanks for staying with us. Now to issue of safety. The regularity of disaster occurrence in Niger requires high-level collaboration among agencies whose mandate is to mitigate and remediate disaster. This dominated discussion at an emergency meeting of the National Emergency Management Agency and the Fire Service, which is aimed at strengthening collaboration for effective management of disasters in the country. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu tells us more.
Management of natural disasters has been a Herculean task in the country. This is due to lack of facilities in stemming it and a lack of synergy among the managing agencies. These impromptu visit by the Controller General of the Federal Fire Service, Liman Ibrahim, to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to midwife collaboration between the two agencies might change the narratives. With firefighting trucks and other equipment provided by the federal government to the fire service, the Controller General told NEMA DG that the agency is battle ready to withstand pressure, being agencies that are almost all the time on the edge.
Our primary aim of coming here is to show you that fire service is with you 100%.
Director General of NEMA, Mustafa Mehadja, expressed readiness to create more response units that will accommodate many agencies in the fight against disaster in the country.
And fire service being one of the key core stakeholders in response to disaster, they are also responding to some of the disasters that are known in this country, civil lives and properties.
The meeting is coming when NEMA is working to remediate disasters in the country. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
Now to aviation. Aviation experts want regulators of the industry to come up with policies that will support local airlines to consolidate on their operations and cover other parts of the country outside the 4 major cities that account for 80% of air services. The guests were analyzing the state of the Nigerian domestic airlines. Ololade Alayaki tells us more.
The aviation sector in Nigeria continues to grow as more reforms are introduced to improve infrastructure and make flying more worthwhile. The guests, however, expressed concern that the operations of local airlines is still far from satisfactory because airlines are operating below their capacity and serve just a few Nigerians.
We have a very, very extremely high operating cost. Yes, I understand some of the policies is there, but some of the issues is related to the owners itself.
I think it's fundamentally important that the policies of government when it comes to certain areas or fundamentals of aviation be looked at. And I think that's a major problem we're faced with today besides everything else.
What I expect government to do is to sit down with the regulator and see what can be done about it. We have about 3 to 4 refineries. There's nothing that stops government from refining this fuel in this country so that the cost of operating an airline will drop.
While acknowledging the need for more synergy between stakeholders, Director General of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Mukhtar Usman, noted that Nigeria has recently signed various bilateral air services agreements.
So we urge the domestic operators, and we will continue to work with them, to take advantage of the potential passenger in Nigeria, because Nigerians are highly mobile. They move a lot.
Governments, particularly at the states, were also advised to develop the tourism potentials in order to attract travels in Abuja. Ololade Alayaki, NTA News.
And out to trade, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, recently signed by Nigeria and 53 other countries, has been described as a move which can create vast business economic potential for the country. Guest on NTA's Current Affairs program, Tuesday Live, however, wants the organized private sector to fully explore the trade agreement. Doin Dia reports.
The Continental Free Trade Agreement, endorsed by 54 countries in Africa as a strategic policy, is to create intra-African investment, market opportunities and wider trade relations amongst member countries. Guests on NTA's Tuesday Live stressed the need to fashion out a policy framework for proper synergy between the Nigerian Customs Service and the country's trade partners. They also emphasized the need to increase investment in the agricultural sector through public-private partnership, such that will assist farmers expand their production capacity of exportable produce.
This initiative is the best thing that has happened to Africa, because today we are going to look at ourselves now and retweak our thinking, our orientation.
That means it is not only for the trader himself, but it's also for the manufacturer. It also goes beyond trade to services.
The projection by President Muhammadu Buhari to take over 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years, they say, will be fast-tracked if concerted effort towards reviving the power and security sectors are made.
You know, our standard conformity assessment institution, let us make them up and running.
Our agricultural produce with very good packaging will go a long way. Not only in Africa, even outside Africa.
With the agreement now at its harmonization stage, guests on the show believe that this policy, when implemented, will help the federal, states and local governments as well as entrepreneurs boost their income generation as well as address the massive unemployment in the country. In Abuja, Doin Dia, NT News.
And still on the trade agreement, ahead of the commencement of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Nigeria is perfecting strategies to curb duty evasion, smuggling and lack of information on import and export goods and services along its borders. To this end, the federal government plans to establish transnational and regional markets in different parts of the country. Moplan Dakok reports.
With so many informal business activities going on along the Nigerian borders, with resultant revenue losses, the federal government is making efforts to restructure and formalize such transactions by building transnational and regional markets in each of the geopolitical zones of the country. One of such proposed markets is the 223 hectares Babana Transitional Market located in Niger State, north-central Nigeria. This high-level meeting of stakeholders on the Babana market is to map out programs and strategies for the actualization of the project.
Just as we are committed to making sure that these things are carried to the highest level of discussion and direct activities, you at the border, in the border towns and leaders that are responsible for maintaining peace and orderliness will do all that and require of you to make sure that our country is safe.
The belief here is that Babana Market and others like it will facilitate wealth creation, reduce smuggling, and help mainstream informal trade into the national economy. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
Now to communications. The Nigerian Communications Satellite Limited, NICOMSAT, says it is set to penetrate markets of some African countries to enable Nigeria maximize return on investment on satellite connectivity. This was made known at a strategic business forum between NICOMSAT and channel partners in Abuja. Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
Records from the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, reveal that the communication satellite market is dominated by major players not based in Africa. With the number of internet users projected to hit 200 million in Nigeria by the year 2023, the need to accelerate investment in the digital economy to bridge the gap between Africa and the rest of the world formed the thrust of the Strategic Business Forum. Executive Director Supply Services, Mohammed Abubakar, affirmed that NICOMSAT remains the flagship of the industry in Africa with the state-of-the-art facility.
NICOMSAT has footprint in all the West African sub-region. So our strategy in reaching out to the African countries is to actually step up our publicity. Just recently we acquired a new dialogue hub, which is more robust in terms of technology. It is the latest technology for providing internet services to our rural areas.
Ghanaian telecommunication experts Adolf Pesese is one of the partners and focal persons NICOMSAT is collaborating with for the penetration.
It's just a matter of populating those footprints, and then Nigeria can be able to serve the entire of Africa. You already have what we call undersea cables coming to the country. So when it comes to interconnectivity with countries or uplink to international streams, you already have it.
NICOMSAT 1R was relaunched in 2011 and has been in orbit since then, with a view to launch another for efficient service delivery. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on NTA. Time now to link up with Abubakar in Maiduguri for more reports. Hello, Abubakar.
Hello, Elizabeth. It's good to see you, and thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. Borno State government has presented foodstuff and cash donation to the Prefect of Difa, Niger Republic, to enable the government cater for the welfare of internally displaced persons from Borno State taking refuge there. Jadwa John Jesni reports.
Received by the Prefect of Difa, Mohammed Madu, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum proceeded to where IDPs from Abadam, Mobar and Guzamala are camped and informed them that efforts are in top gear to ensure that the IDPs return to their original communities and their livelihoods restored. He further revealed that plans are on the way to provide accessible roads from Damasak to Difa so as to enhance the cordial relationship existing between the two entities. Governor Babagana then announced a donation of 10 million naira, which he said 5 million was from the Borno State government, 3 million from Senator Abubakar Kyari, and 2 million from Bukar Gana. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum also commended the International Joint Task Force for ensuring safety of lives and property in the area and sympathized with them over loss of their men who died in line of duty, assuring to provide the needed support. Prefect of Difa, Mohammed Madu thanked the governor for according much priority to the welfare of his people, urging the IDPs to feel at home as the Niger government will ensure that they lack nothing until they are set to return home. In Maiduguri, Jedwajon Jesini, NTA News.
The newly promoted General Officer, Commanding 7th Division, Nigerian Army, Major General Abdul Malik Bulama Biu, has called on remnants of Boko Haram terrorists to lay down their arms and surrender to the military, warning that refusal will amount to sustained military onslaught against them. The GOC made the call in Maiduguri shortly on arrival from Abuja, where he received an award and accelerated promotion by President Muhammadu Buhari. Memuna Garba completes the story.
The award and accelerated promotion of Major General Abdul Malik Bulama Biu by the President was for his extraordinary feats, courage, exemplary leadership, loyalty, and uncommon commitment in the counter-insurgency operation in the Northeast. With the promotion, the GOC, who was in acting position, is now substantive GOC 7th Division. Major General Abdul Malik Bulama Biu said he came with renewed vigor, hence the need for officers and men of the division to redouble their commitment toward routing the insurgents and restoring lasting peace to the region. The GOC thanked the President and Chief of Army Staff for the promotion, stressing that the feat attained was as a result of collective efforts with support of troops and officers of the division, urging them to continue with the good work. Professional commitment more than ever before in order to succeed, stressing that if the insurgents refuse to surrender, sustained military operations will continue until they are completely neutralized. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
And that's our contribution. Elizabeth, it's back to you now for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon to you.
Thank you so much, Abubakar. Now, the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency is interfacing key players in the oil sector to review its standard operating procedures and guidelines for facility inspection in the midstream and downstream sectors. Momso Damandati reports.
Fire outbreaks result into loss of lives and property. Contamination of water translating to waterborne diseases with negative effects on aqua activities. Adverse effects on farming activities are some of the consequences of poorly managed oil activities. The fact that all these are taking a toll on the environment and accounting to climate changes make the Nigerian government to join the global effort to address this. The National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency is taking the lead in this regard.
We will add value to whatever we come to do with you by way of how your operations can be safer for your staff, safer for the environment, and safer for Nigerians. We also guide you on what we have in the statutory instruments that we'll be using to monitor your operations and to which you have to comply with.
We plead for a synergy between your agency, Federal Ministry of Environment, Department of Petroleum Resources, and the state environmental agencies, so that in the course of each of you carrying out your duties, it does not disturb the operations of these marketing companies.
This interfacing with major players in the oil sector is expected to kickstart coordinated measures to safeguarding the environment. In Abuja, Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
Recent report by the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control has confirmed the efficacy of the Aviation injection that allegedly led to blindness of 10 patients at the National Eye Center, Kaduna. It was part of submissions at the investigative hearing by the Senate Hada Committee on Health. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
The management of the Eye Center and National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration Control presented submissions before the Senate committee. They are on whether the said drug is fit for human consumption, condition in which it is stored, and the administration process, which formed part of the answers contained in both NAFDAC and the Eye Center's assessment reports.
If a product manufactured of the same lot are properly stored,
under the good conditions as we meet it there. And we didn't see the sample of the product that in question was used. We'll revert back to the retention sample, and that is what we analyzed. And that is what confirmed to us that this product conformed to specification.
The question is, how do we avert it to occurrence when we do not have analysis that can narrow down to say this is where it is?
We will do a comprehensive root cause analysis, look at our chain, and then institute necessary actions that will promote safety for our patients.
The committee advised the center to streamline its drugs management activities from the point of delivery to the administration and storage. It is with a view to clear the minds of Nigerians on the allegations raised relating to the drug, and it will remain the best eye center in the West African sub-region. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Onome in Enugu is next on our lineup with top stories from that region. Hello, Onome.
Hello, Elizabeth, and welcome to Enugu. Justice Ansem Waigwe has been sworn in as acting Chief Judge of Ebonyi State. This followed the retirement of Justice Aloy Wankwo. Kingsley Okoro reports that the Ebonyi State Governor, David Umahi, led other members of the state executive to the event.
The judiciary of any state is a key component of justice administration and overall good governance. Ebonyi State Judiciary, like other state judiciaries, has its mandate to interpret laws, give directions on jurisprudence, custom, conventions, and protect and preserve the rights of citizens and individuals alike. The administration of oath and swearing in of the acting Chief Judge of Ebonyi State, Justice Anselm Wigwe, by the Solicitor General of the state, Albert Alo, was another milestone in the dispensation of justice in the state. Governor David Umahi, who expressed confidence on his credibility, charged him to surpass the record of his predecessor by entrenching peace in the state judiciary.
All we say is, if you can't exceed the track record of my brother and friend Justice Aloy Wankwo, just keep to the track record.
The acting Chief Judge of Ebonyi State, Justice Anselm Wigwe, pledged to use the instruments of the law to uphold the bar and the bench.
The peace and harmony existing between the three arms of government in the state end without any injury to our judicial independence and accountability.
3 senior special assistants to the governor and 12 special assistants to the governor were also sworn in with a mandate to drive the policies and programs of the state in the interest of Ebonyi people. In Abakaliki, Kingsley Okoro, NTA News.
As victims of the fire outbreak that razed Amigo markets in Obiagu, Ogui, Enugu, count their losses in tears, succor has come their way, courtesy of Enugu State government, while Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, who visited the scene, promised to assist the victims. The State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, is strategizing to meet the demands of flood predictions in some local government areas of the state. Susan Eze has details.
The fire razed about 68 shops in the market, though no casualties were recorded according to the market leaders and eyewitnesses. Victims are, however, traumatized. The state governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, who visited the scene, sympathized with the victims, promised a cash gift of 100,000 naira for each of the 68 victims, and that the state government will foot the bill of rebuilding their burnt shops. Though the people commend the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, and the fire service for their quick response to the distress call, the two agencies harp on the need to sensitize the people on risk reduction measures in case of disasters like fire and flooding.
Regarding fire disaster, we in the Enugu State Fire Service have organized a fire sensitization and awareness campaign to sensitize the people on what they can do assuming there is a fire outbreak, and also to make them imbibe that safety consciousness regarding fire.
Meanwhile, the actual cause of the Amibo Obiago market fire is yet to be ascertained, though residents complain of power fluctuations before the incident. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Nigerians have been enjoined to avoid activities capable of blocking drainages that leads to flooding and deplorable condition of roads. Kingsley Onuniwu has a situation report on the deplorable condition of Owerri-Okigwe Road caused by the poor attitude of residents.
All important road, which serves as a major gateway into Owerri, the Imo State capital, when coming from Enugu, Abia, and some northern states, as well as a major exit point from the city to other local government areas in the state and other states in the country, plays a crucial role in the economic development of Imo State in particular and Nigeria in general. Regrettably, the pens, motorists, and other users are passing through in assessing the economic acrobacies of the road is better seen than told, especially this period of the year.
Always we used to go and fix our keke because it used to spoil it. The road has been like this. It's a recurrent decimal. Every year it turns out.
I don't know who gave an approval, a building plan approval to the filling station and some other structures around that area. Blocked the drainage.
We try to bulldoze a place to grade the area, at least to allow for easy flow of traffic.
We also appeal to the road users to be patient with government as the road will soon undergo serious rehabilitation in the Imo State capital.
Kingsley Onuniwu, NTA News.
That is our contribution from Enugu. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Onome. Now, to security, the Nigerian Air Force has appointed new branch chiefs, redeployed 2 air officers commanding and other senior officers as part of routine exercise aimed at ensuring operational efficiency. The newly appointed branch chiefs are Air Vice Marshal Napoleon Bali, who is now the Chief of Policy and Plans, and Air Vice Marshal Paul Dimwina, who is now the Chief of Communication Information Systems Headquarters, Nigerian Air Force. The new AOCs include Air Vice Marshal James Guani as AOC Special Operations Command, Bauchi, and Air Vice Marshal Charles Owo as AOC Tactical Air Command, Makudi. Also redeployed are various senior officers. A statement by NAF Director of Information and Public Relations, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, says all appointments take effect from Friday, 19th of July, 2019. Still on security, National Councillors Forum of Nigeria is repositioning itself through value addition mechanism put in place to enable members carry out their legislative functions. A meeting of the forum to share quality ideas on how to key into government's efforts of embracing local government as a critical tier of government for development was held in Abuja. Saliu Abdullahi reports.
We can see some of the challenges. We have insecurities here and there in Nigeria, which Mr. President has been doing all he could. So please, let's make sure we use our good office as a legislator to ensure we restore security in our wards.
A reminder that re-emphasized the strategic role of the legislators as grassroots ambassadors and mobilizers to ensure maximum and effective use of the resources to add value to the nation's development, especially at that level. Participants focused on curbing insecurity through effective legislations with a unanimous submission that enhancing infrastructural development will enable local governments function better. In addition, the forum seeks to provide solution to the delay to conducting elections into local government council by some elected governors.
Because Constitution says democratized council, not theatricalized council.
If any opposition government comes in power in any state, I think the governor has no any right to dissolve the local government in existence of that present state.
Let me say, like my governor used to say in Akwa Ibom, that councillors are the governors of their ward, so that we'll be able to go down to the grassroots, to the last person at the community.
And if there is no elected councillors in the local government where interests of the people at the ward level are having direct impact, then they will be shortchanged.
The lawmakers promise to make a difference in their legislative responsibilities to justify federal government's agenda to restore the glory of the local governments. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
and a book to celebrate one of Nigeria's intellectual giants, prominent artist and humanist, Professor Jimoh Bola Akolo, has been unveiled in Abuja under the auspices of the National Art Gallery. Anthony Forson reports.
Born in September 1935, Professor Jimoh Bola Akolo, a pioneer art educator, seasoned scholar, and an astute administrator, has traversed the world of art, leaving these paintings on display as part of his works. In celebrating his contribution to the world of art, the National Gallery of Art put together a book titled Jimoh Akola, Eminent Scholar and Painter.
The book we are about to unveil today, will give us insight into the man and the road he has had to travel since 84 years ago.
There were goodwill messages from the representatives of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, and Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Deaconess Grace Isugekwe.
This artist went on to make waves in the sector for generations.
His works have contributed and still contributing to the country's art masterpiece, which has grown exponentially.
Acting Director General of the National Gallery of Art, Simon Ikwarakonya, also doubles as the author.
Many of his artworks are available here for us to view.
Highlight of the event was the inspection of the exhibition by dignitaries led by the Etsunupe. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTN News.
Correspondent on special assignment examines decline in reading culture. Asmao has details of this and more from our Sokoto Network Center. Hello, Asmao.
Hello, Elizabeth. Good afternoon and welcome to Sokoto. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar has been commended for his support and cooperation to the American government and its programs. USAID Country Director in Nigeria, Mr. Stephen Hekin, made the commendation when he led a delegation to the Sultan Palace on a courtesy visit. Sheikh Muhammad Dati completes the report.
Mr. Stephen Hekin was at the palace to interact with the Sultan on national and international issues and launching of a food security activity in Abuja. The country mission director informed the Sultan that they have inaugurated a new project on improving the healthcare status of people in Sokoto. Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, acknowledged the activities of the American government and the USAID in the areas of education, healthcare delivery, and security. The monarch described the security challenge as a global phenomenon that can be tackled with the collaboration of relevant stakeholders. He informed the delegation that the security challenge and conflicts in Nigeria are neither religious nor ethnic, but criminal acts. The British High Commissioner, Katrina Lang, was also at the Sultan's palace. She appreciated the Sultan for his passion in uniting the diverse ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Sultan, while welcoming the British High Commissioner, expressed hope that the visit will further cement the cordial relationship between Nigeria and Britain.
People writing reports on Nigeria in particular should be unbiased. They should go around and talk to everybody. You can't come into a country, talk to a group of people and then go and write reports. But nobody approached me. Nobody ever sat down to discuss with me. When you hear people talk of Christian persecution, I wonder, I say, which Christian? Do we have two Christianities?
Sokoto is the first state the British High Commissioner is visiting since assumption of office. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
Declining level of reading culture in Nigeria has continued to pose threat to socio-economic, political, and techno-scientific advancement of the country. This came to light at the Readership Promotion Campaign organized by the National Library of Nigeria held in Sokoto. Muhammad Nasir reports.
Good reading habit is crucial to national development as it strengthens creativity, develops imaginative thinking, and innovative mind. However, reading culture in Nigeria has continued to decline when compared to other nations. In a bid to reverse these glaring challenges, the National Library of Nigeria has over the years partnered with stakeholders to organize programs that will improve reading habits among Nigerians. This readership promotion campaign with the theme Reviving Moribund Culture of Reading for Sustainable National Development is not only aimed at sensitizing people, but to inculcate in the minds of school children reading habits.
When you read, you acquire knowledge. And that knowledge you acquire
will help you. If you're a student, in your academic. If you're a politician, you will rule us well.
In a paper presentation, Dr. Shehu Umar Mabera of the Usman Nahor University Sokoto says it is evident that reading culture in Nigeria is declining as it becomes a burden to most Nigerians, especially students who only read for exams, which has affected their academic performance negatively. Nigerians, he pointed, fail to imbibe the habit of reading due to inability to read or unwillingness to devote time to reading, which poses great problem for the future of the society.
The way forward is for one, the government, the parents, the teachers, community leaders, and community members will all have to put hand on deck. We have to start, and we have to start from the foundation.
The campaign's objectives, which is to encourage and engage stakeholders on reviving reading culture, will be extended to motor parks in Sokoto with a view to engaging all strata of the society on the need for improving reading culture. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
And that's our package from Sokoto. The news will continue after these messages. Don't go away.
NTA Television College Jos announces admissions into 2-year diploma programs in film and television production, television engineering, and broadcast journalism. The sale of forms will commence on the 13th of May and run through 30th July 2019. Admission forms can be obtained from all marketing offices, NTA state capital stations, zonal centers, or at the office of the academic secretary, NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos.
On payment of a non-refundable fee of 7,500 naira in bank draft in favor of NTA TV College. Applicants can also obtain the forms through the NTA TV College portal at www.ntatvc.edu.nj.
Applicants are required to possess 5 credits in GCE or SSCE in relevant areas of study in not more than 2 sittings, including English and mathematics. All properly completed forms attached with photocopies of credentials must be submitted on or before 30th July 2019. For further inquiries, please visit our website at ntatvc.com or call 0803 3144 383.
NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be.
Registrar, Announcer.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Thanks for staying with us. And now to sports. The Super Eagles of Nigeria and Team Tunisia are set to do battle as they face off in the third-place playoff at the Africa Cup of Nations. Daniel Adere brings us a review of the match.